The source of a massive sinkhole in Chile, look at that thing, has town leaders stumped. The crater is 25 feet wide and more than 650 feet deep in an area 400 miles north of Santiago. The sinkhole formed over the weekend on land operated by a company that mines copper. The National Service of Geology and Mining said that no materials have been detected here, but that water is present.
Bro, is that my fork? What? Hello?
No.
Why is that?
No.
Hello? What the hell? Bro, I don't care about my bike. Hello? Is anybody there? I don't know, dude. Am I just hearing things? Hello? What the Yep, nope, I'm good.
Subterranean Soviet missile stations or tunnels to the center of the Earth. A whole host of theories have emerged after the appearance of a large hole near Russia's Urals. An emergency situation committee has yet to say what caused it or how they'll fill them. Meanwhile, mysterious sinkholes have also appeared elsewhere in the region. Craters have emerged, one after another, in the second largest city in the Purim region, and residents fear half of it could collapse beneath the surface. Some intend to leave their hometown to avoid the danger posed by the craters. And others are even saying that their city is turning into Atlantis, the fictional island that disappeared beneath the sea. Well, we asked a geology expert what could have caused the huge holes in the region.
I think that flooding may be a trigger factor for the sinkhole, because when you flood a mine and water moves toward the mine, and then that moving water may trigger the sinkhole. It brings the sands with the movement, and then probably make the buoyancy smaller, so the water was there to hold the rock or the soil, but now water moves away. So the whole support from water disappear. So the gravity played a role.
And we're not finished yet. A giant hole in the ground also appeared in Siberia. The hole on the Yamal Peninsula is almost 80 meters wide. Its depth, though, is not yet known. As the surrounding area contains the country's biggest gas field, scientists believe that may have caused the hole to appear.
County officials here are describing this as deja vu. They first erected these fences in 2013 after a sinkhole opened up here, and then 2 years later, a sinkhole reopened in the exact same location behind this second fence. Now, the fence was put in to make sure that nobody got too close to what is considered a very vulnerable area because of the sinkhole activity. The anticipation was that something like this could happen here again. Now, 10 years ago in 2013, a sinkhole opened up beneath a man's home. It swallowed him in bed as he slept. The home was torn down and the hole was filled in, but then in 2015, it reopened again. Both times, geotechnical engineers remediated the sinkhole by filling it in with gravel and water. That combination helps to stabilize things. And as county officials explained to me this morning, once a sinkhole opens up like this, there is always a chance it can happen again. But the way that they've gone about remediation allows for any opening, should one reoccur, to be contained to the same location.
This is not uncommon, what we're seeing right here, reoccurrences. It's actually the preferred way of doing it, the way we handled it the first time, the way we filled it. That way, when there's a reoccurrence, it's in a controlled area. Hence, behind me, you see double fences. So we can kind of control the situation.
Here's a look at what things look like now. County officials say the sinkhole is about 12 feet in diameter. Our Skyfox cameras giving us an overhead view. Officials say they don't believe that the sinkhole has grown since it was detected last night just before 5 o'clock. Jean Paul was on scene back in 2015 as well. He says this is in the exact same location and it's about the exact same size as the opening he saw 8 years ago. He says they do not believe that the hole is going to endanger any of the neighboring homes, and he does not believe it's going to grow any larger. A geotechnical engineer will be on scene today to assess the sinkhole and come up with a timetable for when they can begin remediation and stabilization. But at this point, no dates have been provided. In Sefner, Kelly Cowan, Fox 13 News.
Well, a whole lot of questions in Dorchester.
Today, we could learn more about a surprising discovery there. Brianna's back with more. Brianna?
Liam, a sinkhole was discovered in Ronan Park by a Boston resident this past weekend, but no one knows when it appeared or how long it's been there. We should get some answers today. Officials with the Boston Parks and Recreation Department and a city archaeologist have scheduled a news conference for later this morning. Boston.com reports the resident who found the sinkhole called 311. Boston Fire and police responded. And when we went to check it out, this is what our cameras saw. It has been blocked off with barricades, police tape, a fence. So don't bother trying to go check this out yourself.
Okay, now go with me on this one. You see this thing, right? Okay. You get up, you go to your own backyard, you find this massive hole. Well, that's exactly what happened to a homeowner in Hernando County, Florida. That's just northwest of Tampa. Xavier Walton joins us live from Weeki Wachee. Xavier, just go with me on this here. You get up and you're not expecting something like this. You go into your backyard, this huge hole. What exactly happened? How did all this go down?
Well, Nick, that is a great question, and that's one that researchers are trying to answer. To give you an idea of where we are and where this hole is, that house, you see the green grass, we're about 100 feet away. How massive that hole is. We're going to take you to the video to give you a bird's eye view just to show you how remarkable it is. And honestly, that's why it is so unsettling when you consider just how close it was to someone else's house, the sheer size and how deep the hole goes into the earth. Simply incredible. This is in Hernando County. That's roughly 45 minutes north of Tampa. But this video really does give everyone at home a great idea of how big the hole is, especially when you compare it. You see that house right next to it? Yeah, when you compare it to the size of that house next door, officials say the hole opened up amidst last week's severe storms that brought that record rainfall across some parts of Florida. At this point, though, Nick, I got to say there's not a ton of information, which is a bit unsettling, especially for folks living in this neighborhood. Even for us, we got here, and I was like, wow, that's not that far from where we are right now. Let's make sure to keep a safe distance away because, yeah, it is a little bit unsettling when you see just how massive that hole is. Like you said earlier, though, no one was hurt. Officials still investigating and trying to get more answers.
Yeah, and it's so possible, Xavier, to have either, detached garage, anything like that in the area. And I have to believe, as a homeowner, you're thinking, I hope this thing don't keep spreading because I don't want my house to go down in it. Can you imagine what the person next door is thinking when something like this is happening? And how rare is it for something like this to actually happen?
Yeah, pretty hard to imagine. I'm going to go knock on their door here once it gets a little bit later on the East Coast. But it's actually more common than you might think, so much so as we get to more video. And this is drone video. But Hernando County, where we are, and 2 neighboring counties make up an area called Sinkhole Alley. That's what scientists call it. It has to do with the type of soil and rock formation. You know what? We asked a geologist how to spot the early signs of a potential sinkhole. Here's what he had to say.
Typically, when a sinkhole forms under a house, you'll start to see cracking develop on the concrete masonry unit walls, where you'll see this stair-step cracking, and it'll expand over time. Those are signs.
And he also said not every crack means it's going to lead to a massive hole like we're here this morning. Not to scare anyone, but aside from Florida, there are some other states that should actually remain more vigilant. States like Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, even Pennsylvania. We're not trying to scare anyone, Nick, but when you see something like that, it's hard not to be just a little bit more cautious. So when you think of a crack or something like that, maybe I'm going to call somebody, maybe the insurance at that too.
Absolutely. Anytime it's called Sinkhole Alley, Xavier, that definitely raises concerns. Xavier, thank you so much.
Well, we don't get up till late because we're retired. It was 9 o'clock, I heard a knock on the door. It was a chap from next door. He was out watering his tomato plants and he said, do you want the good news or the bad news? I said,
the good news is he's got a swimming pool?
Yeah, and he come out and got a hole in the ground, you know.
Oh, my goodness. It's hard to explain, you know. A hole in the backyard. And as we've been out here watching it all morning with our neighbours, it's got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think, when's it going to stop?
What it is old mine workings. We've identified the fact that there's a shaft put in here many, many years ago, and we've been in contact with the mines department. They're sending a team up here.
In an unsettling and mysterious incident in the heart of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, a 48-year-old Indian tourist has disappeared after falling into a massive sinkhole that suddenly opened beneath her feet.
Mysterious 260-foot wide hole appears in northern Siberia. The discovery of an enormous crater on the Yamal Peninsula in northern Siberia has triggered an intense debate surrounding its formation. The oval-shaped crater sits nearly 3,000 kilometers east of Moscow. It measures 30 meters in diameter, is around 70 meters deep, and has a lake at its base, 80% of which scientists say appears to be made up of ice.
Mysterious sinkholes are plaguing Turkey and they appear randomly without notice. There are 2,500 known sinkholes in Turkey and 16 of them came in the first 9 months of 2022. It's believed that severe droughts in the region are leaving layers of limestone brittle until they fully collapse.
Scientists are investigating a giant sinkhole in northern Chile that terrified locals claim is still growing. The mysterious sinkhole, which currently stands at 82 feet wide and 656 feet deep, appeared in the commune of Tierra Amarilla in Atacama region, close to the Alcaparrosa copper mine. Local Mayor Cristobal Zuniga reported, Saturday, 30 July, we received a citizen complaint regarding a sinkhole that would have occurred here in our community near the Alcaparrosa mine. We are concerned, since it is a fear that we have always had as a community. The fact we are surrounded by mining deposits and subterranean works under our community. Mayor Zuniga added, it is still active, it is still growing, and it is something that has not previously been seen in our community.
Ever seen the earth just disappear? Well, Nevada has, and it's wild. Imagine waking up to find a massive hole in your backyard, only this one keeps growing. That's exactly what's happening in rural Nevada. Scientists are scratching their heads over this mysterious sinkhole that seems to have no end in sight. Geologists think it might be caused by shifting underground water, but they just don't have all the answers yet. This isn't your average pothole, y'all. The sinkhole's expansion is threatening nearby areas, making it a race against time to understand what's really going on underneath the surface. So what's next? Will they crack the code before it's too late? Stay tuned, because this Nevada sinkhole is one mystery that's far from being solved.
We have the first images from Florida of that cavernous sinkhole that swallowed a home and a young man in his bedroom. And ABC's Gio Benitez shows us. He is there.
This is our first look at the massive sinkhole that swallowed up 37-year-old Jeff Bush while sleeping in his bed. Look closer. Authorities tell ABC News the sinkhole, about 30 feet wide and 100 feet deep, could well extend underneath the two neighboring homes, both less than 40 feet away.
There's no one allowed in those homes, and there will be a determination made if they're condemned in the coming weeks.
Earlier today, crews used heavy machinery to recover some of Bush's personal items from the bedroom, carefully collecting his jacket and hat from the wall. But Jeremy Bush is frustrated his brother remains buried in the rubble.
They got this big equipment. Why can't somebody be harnessed up on that equipment and try and rescue him?
Authorities say that's just too dangerous.
Any additional loss of life would have made this tragedy even worse.
So today, that machine ending the demolition by sending flowers for Mr. Bush down into what is now his grave. As crews now fill this sinkhole with gravel to stabilize it, we've learned a new sinkhole opened up just hours ago here in the same town. This one, we're told, did not hurt anyone.
A report out of Florida tonight is a reminder to millions of Americans there is a strange and dangerous vulnerability underground, sinkholes. A man was in his bedroom. The earth opened up beneath the house and he fell in. ABC's Matt Gutman shows us the science of what happened in Florida and how to know what's under your house.
Emergency. Horror struck the little house on Faithway Drive just before midnight.
The house just fell through.
These 911 tapes reveal the terror inside that house.
The bedroom floor just collapsed and my brother-in-law is in there. He's underneath the house.
A sinkhole some 30 feet across and up to 100 feet deep opened up directly beneath Jeff Bush's bedroom. His brother, Jeremy, says he tried desperately to save him.
I jumped in the hole and was trying to dig him out. I couldn't find him. I just started digging and started digging and started digging, and then the cops showed up and pulled me out of the hole and told me the floor was still falling in.
Jeremy was rescued by police, but his brother is believed dead. The house condemned. The Bush family says they had no idea they lived under a geological time bomb. This part of Florida is known as Sinkhole Alley. Florida is riddled with them. Look at these. All reported sinkholes in Florida since 1954, more than 3,000 since the 80s. 7 other states are classified as sinkhole prone, covering up to 40% of the country. Sinkholes generally form when limestone is eaten away by water, but the land above it stays intact until it dramatically gives way.
It literally burns through the rock.
It burns through the rock. Now we're talking hundreds of thousands of years.
The result? Sinkholes like this one in Florida growing to the size of a football field in a single day in 1981. This Texas-sized sinkhole in Houston devouring a tractor. Are there any ways to detect whether or not you have a sinkhole in or around your house?
Very expensive and difficult to do, and it might only be good for as long as the test is done.
Experts say it's extremely rare to be hurt by a sinkhole, but there are things you can do to protect your family and your house. Take a look at the walls. Are they cracking? Take a look at the doors. Are they harder to open and close? And, of course, fences and vegetation outside. If those things have moved, you might want to get your house looked at.
The deepest hole on Earth.
The Kola Super Deep Borehole is the deepest hole ever dug, reaching around 7.5 miles into the earth, or around 12,262 kilometers. The scientists and engineers who dug the hole made it expecting to go as deep as possible, predicting to get around 9 miles into the earth, but fell short. They had to give up due to unexpectedly high temperatures, these temperatures being 365 degrees Fahrenheit, or 180 Celsius. A couple other holes have been dug fractions of a mile deeper, but couldn't maintain the depth, causing this hole, which was finished being dug in 1992, to stay the deepest. And the reason why it's nearly impossible to go deeper without some new technology is because at these temperatures, the rock seems to act more like malleable plastic, refilling in the hole whenever it's dug. The Kola borehole is even deeper than the naturally forming Mariana Trench.
But hopefully we'll get some video and be able to see what's down there. That's pretty cool looking, isn't it?
Alright guys, we're here with Nate and Ben from Deep Freedom. They got a YouTube channel. Go check them out. We're going to put a link in the description. We're here at this super deep cave. We got to rappel down like 128 feet. And we're going to see the deepest pit in America. And we're going to go drop a GoPro down it. Alright, throwing it.
There she goes.
Oh my gosh, guys. Oh, heck no. This is insanity. Oh my gosh. Woo! Ooh, that's a waterfall right there. Oh, that's cool. This is it, guys. This is the top of the pit. It's a long way down, that's for sure. Alright, dropping it. I'm dropping it. Seeing what happens. Alright, here goes. Oh, wrong way. Alright, dropping it.
Another mystery buried deep in the hills of eastern Washington keeps resurfacing. A bottomless pit said to be a pathway to the paranormal.
In the heart of eastern Washington lies a strange mystery, Mel's Hole, a seemingly bottomless pit wrapped in enigma. Discovered by local resident Mel Waters, this hole has led to a series of eerie discoveries and unexplainable events that defy rational understanding. Surveillance cameras lowered into its depths have captured unsettling images, leaving even seasoned scientists perplexed. Surrounded by whispers of paranormal activity and government secrecy, the truth behind this unfathomable void remains elusive. In a remote corner of eastern Washington, a mysterious enigma continues to baffle and intrigue locals and visitors alike. Nestled among the rolling hills, a strange, seemingly endless pit has captured the imagination of many. Known as Mel's Hole, this curious phenomenon has been the subject of many tales and explorations. When a camera was lowered into this abyss, the footage it returned astounded people across the globe. This unusual pit is located on what is known as the Melat property, situated west of Ellensburg on the Manistache Ridge. It looks like a regular hole in the ground, similar to a well, but it's not for drawing water. Over the years, it became a makeshift dumping site where various items were discarded, ranging from household trash to broken machinery and car tires. Surprisingly, no matter how much was dumped, the hole seemed never to fill up, sparking Mel's curiosity about its depth and contents. Strange happenings began to unfold around this mysterious pit. Mel noticed that his dogs would steer clear of it, acting as if they were wary or frightened. Odd, unexplainable signals on his radio when near the hole added to the mystery. In 2017, a team of researchers, determined to investigate further, lowered a camera into its depths, only to be alarmed by what they saw, prompting them to abandon the site. Mel's Hole is not just an ordinary hole. It is a large circular gap, about 9 feet across, encircled by a stone wall extending down about 15 feet before giving way to complete darkness. The hole, long used as a dumping site by Mel and his neighbors, astonished everyone with its silence, no sound, echoes, or indication of depth when items were thrown in. Driven by curiosity, Mel Waters, an avid fisherman, decided to measure its depth. Attaching a 1-pound weight to his fishing line, he lowered it into the pit, unspooling 4,500 feet of line without hitting bottom. Determined to discover more, he switched to using Lifesavers candy, hoping to detect water, but they returned completely dry. Undeterred, Mel extended the line, eventually reaching an incredible 10,000 feet, and still, no bottom was found. He went as far as using a total of 880,000 feet, over 166 miles, of line, yet the hole remained bottomless. During his experiments, Mel noticed something unsettling. His dogs avoided the hole entirely, digging their paws into the ground to resist going near it, as if sensing an invisible danger. The area around the hole was eerily silent, devoid of birds or insects, although birds flew over it unperturbed. Conversations with neighbors revealed similar stories about their dogs, and one neighbor shared a chilling account. Grieving the loss of his dog, he had disposed of its body in the hole, only to see the same dog days later, alive and wearing its familiar collar, yet behaving as if it had come from another world. These events, combined with the hole's apparent endlessness, left Mel overwhelmed and uncertain. In 1997, he turned to Coast AM, a radio show hosted by Art Bell, known for exploring mysterious and paranormal phenomena. Mel shared his story, captivating millions of listeners worldwide. Maybe they could help make sense of the bottomless hole and the strange things happening around it. If there was any chance to find answers, it would be through the curious and open-minded audience of Coast to Coast AM. The Mel's Hole saga darkens with government involvement and deeper mysteries revealed on this popular radio show. On the 21st of February in 1997, Mel decided to share his story with Art Bell, a well-known radio host who loved delving into mysteries. Mel sent a message to Art, and not long after, they had a phone conversation. That chat became the start of something huge. Suddenly, everyone was talking about Mel's mysterious hole. Over a few radio programs, Mel shared more about his strange and deep hole. People from all over the globe tuned in, offering advice and suggesting ways to measure the hole's depth, like using lasers or ground-penetrating radar. However, sharing his story came at a price. Mel revealed clues about the hole's location, and the very next day, he found his land taken over by the United States military. They barred him from entering, claiming a plane had crashed there. The following morning, helicopters buzzed overhead, solidifying the military's presence. Mel had noticed the hole's peculiar effects on its surroundings. Animals avoided it, while plants thrived. Radios near the hole emitted strange noises, occasionally picking up distant stations or broadcasts from decades ago. Once, Mel's radio played music from the past, and on another occasion, it tuned into a 1967 baseball game. When Mel spoke to Art from Ellensburg, their hour-long conversation set off a series of events. Upon trying to return to his land, Mel found armed military personnel blocking his way, claiming they needed to investigate a crash site. Yet, there were no signs of wreckage. A man in plain clothes hinted at potential legal troubles if Mel resisted. Undeterred, Mel threatened to alert the media, but the man dismissed him, asserting no one would believe his story. Art Bell's audience, however, was eager to believe. Days later, Art called Mel back to check in. Mel relayed a neighbor's account of a dark beam of light shooting skyward from the hole, piercing through the clouds. Though Mel hadn't seen it himself, others in the area confirmed the region's history of bizarre occurrences, including UFO sightings and mysterious disappearances.
Aziz. Abi. Sen hemen yanımda otur.
Sen okumadın değil mi bu başta?
Yok daha okumadım.
Ondan mı?
Ondan olabilir evet. Korunuyor çünkü şimdi burası.
Oku abi sen bir an önce.
Ömer abi bak şu taş dikleştir. Orada öyle değil. Sen. Ahmet sakın şu an her yerde çıkabilir, her an çıkabilir. Bu...
Allah Ömer abi, Ömer abi sanda.
Bir dakika.
Sanda.
Nerede?
Baba.
Yukarıda. Tamam gördüm. Gördüm bir dakika bak. Gördüm.
Boynuzlara bak. Tamam işte.
Ahmet bu boynuzlu şerşapal bu Ahmet. Boynuzlu şerşapal
Dediğin
bak.
abi bu. Büyük boynuzlu olan.
Burayı koruyan boynuzlu şerşapal bu çok güçlü. Çok güçlü Ahmet sakın panik yapma bak. Başına büyük bir sıkıntı gelebilir. Sakın panik yapma bak. Görüyor musun? Şu an bize bakıyor. Ben şimdi bunu...
O neydi öyle?
Çıktı bu ortaya. Bu tılsımla çıktı ortaya.
Bir şey
Ama çok güçlü Ahmet. Var mı? Başka yerde var mı?
Aşağıda Ömer abi. Yakında. Ömer abi yakında. Arkama geldi Ömer abi. Arkama geldi.
Tamam. Aziz.
What the frick, Vernon? You see it? I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's really odd, though.
agora o melhor de tudo, essa queda d'água. Muita água, muita força. Uhul! E caraca! E uma coisa ali. Caraca, apareceu um cara ali no meio da água. Mozinho! Mozinho, você viu o cara no meio da água? Muita força. Uhul! E caraca! E uma coisa...
A hiking woman recognized something in the woods that wasn't right, so she started recording, and this is what she got. Let me know what y'all think. A hiking woman recognized something in the woods that wasn't right, so she started recording, and this is what she got. Let me know what y'all think.
Finally, December is big, and I see some big and ugly. Holy, I can see his eye. What the hell, you got?
He zooms in, and a good distance away behind the trees is a massive, unidentified creature. Its head peeks up from atop the pine tree, revealing a pair of piercing, glowing eyes. The man is surprised and very frightened by the creature and can't believe he's capturing it on camera. This is when it lets out a guttural roar, shaking the skier to the core. The man knew he was in potential danger, so he quickly packed up his stuff and left, leaving the beast be.
Brother!
Now that this has slowed down, this was filmed in Canada. A guy was checking his brush pile, had a camera, didn't notice it until he checked his footage back. We froze it. The thing looks black with a red belly. And again, this was in Canada. Definitely taller than the barn.
Okay, they told us about these demon face syndrome people were going to start showing up. Remember, the media told us this. This is famous YouTuber FouseyTube. Check out this weird interaction he had at this bar with this individual over here. This is by any means not a normal interaction at all, y'all. Check this out and let me know what you guys think. From the time he comes sit down, just watch him, y'all. Look at this. He feels the energy. Look at him. Because y'all know how when someone's looking at y'all,
Are you good? Are you good?
y'all seen his eye? Y'all seen his eye as soon as he stood up? Hold on. So y'all, I caught this as soon as he stood up. Watch his right eye. Watch this. Bro, did you guys see how fast that eye jumped up? Independently too, look. What? This thing continues to go on and it only gets more weird, y'all. Check this out. He doesn't say a word. She's trying to speak to him in Spanish and he's not even understanding. Y'all look at his neck.
I don't know.
Just look at him. Just the way that they're talking to him too. Look at the way he stares at the cookie when she offers him it. Oh my goodness. So what do y'all think this is, y'all? This is a weird interaction on all levels. I'm excited to read your comments down below and share this video. Let's get this shift. Peace in.
Parents, y'all gotta keep your kids off YouTube. For the last 2 months, my son has been coming into my room anywhere from 9 to 11 o'clock at night, and he's crying, and he gives me a hug, and when I ask him what's wrong, he says, "I just love you." And then he goes back to bed. It was happening like once or twice a week. It's always so weird. So I started thinking that he was sleepwalking because it's just out of Troy's character. But it's been happening like once or twice a week for like the last 2 months. This morning, we're eating breakfast, and he looks over at me, and he says, "Mommy, can you happy?" And I'm like, "You what? What?" And he said, "Can you happy so I don't have to you?" What? I said, "You want me to?" And he said, "No, I don't, but the show said that you have to happy." And I'm like, "What show?" And he said, "The Dragon Show." The what? Now, he watches stuff like this. This is Netflix. I'm like, "What Dragon Show? On what?" Because I'm trying to pull it up. And he said, "On YouTube." Now, he's not supposed to be watching YouTube because the last time that he was allowed to watch YouTube Kids, there was a cartoon of a little boy that looks like Caillou that was telling my son to go run and jump in front of cars and get all of his friends to run and jump in front of the cars driving down the street. And so once I realized that that cartoon was legit telling him to go get his friends and they all wait until a car is coming and then they run in front of the car, I was like, "Oh no, you guys are done." And nobody has been allowed to watch YouTube since. So I didn't even know that they had access to YouTube on their TVs, their Roku TVs. I thought they only had Netflix, Hulu, and then like normal TV. But nope, he's been sneaking and watching YouTube, and whatever cartoon he's watching about dragons is telling him me. And instead of doing what they're saying, he comes in the room crying and hugs me and is just like, "I just love you." That is insane. Pay attention to what your kids are watching, because there are really sickos out there. That is crazy. I had a conversation with my son earlier that made me question life. And so I'm going to share the conversation with you because I need you guys to question life as well. The conversation started because he came up to me and said, Mom, why do people say dinosaurs are extinct? And I was like, well, because they are. And he said, but they're not. And it was a back and forth of him saying they're still alive and me saying, dude, no, they're not. All we find is bones. If there were dinosaurs alive, people would be getting eaten. To which my son responded, do you also think that fairies are extinct? And I said, not extinct. They're just not real, dude. And he said, they are real. You just can't see them. I'm sorry, what? So I just looked at him because he blew my mind with that. Okay, this is where I'm questioning life. Can he see fairies? So I said, can you see fairies? And he went, and just like the most peaceful expression was on his face. And he just, and then I said, okay, so if dinosaurs are not extinct, where do they live? He said, Dino Land. And I'm like, dude, that sounds like a show that you're watching. Okay, this sounds like a show. And he says, no, Dino Land is real. It's in a big hole. He said, there's a big hole. He said, we can see into the hole, but we can't reach the dinosaurs and the dinosaurs can't get out. And I said, so the dinosaurs are in hell? That's what I'm thinking, right? He said, no, there's a hole on Earth, 'cause duh, Mom. And he said, and it's beautiful and it's full of lots of trees and waterfalls. And he is describing this beautiful land. And he said, and only dinosaurs are there. And right now, the raptors are at war with the T-Rexes. Or no, the T-Rexes, crap. All of the dinosaurs are at war with the Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus is the bad guy. Everybody thinks the T-Rex is the bad guy, but the T-Rex is actually a good guy. Anyways, I can't tell if my son should write movies or if there's really Dino Land somewhere in the earth. If it's discovered, just know my son knew first. Also, are fairies real? I think they might be. He's convinced me. What if we just can't see them?
I want you to watch what happens when I type in Revelation 9:11 in Google and then click on images. And let's look at this very first one. They were ruled by a king, the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon. And then scroll over and look at this very next one. Revelation 9:11, angel of the abyss. Does he look familiar to you? Now, we'll get back to him in a second. But first, I want to revisit Revelation 9:11. They had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon. Now, I couldn't help but make the connection of Revelation 9:11 and the bottomless pit. It reminded me of something else I've seen. The 9/11 memorial of two missing buildings, for some reason, has a pit. Does that seem a little odd to anyone? And well, I couldn't help but think that his inauguration is starting on January 19th, or 119, or 9/11 backwards. And hey, he was the 45th and 47th president. 45th and the 47th. And I don't know about you, but the January 19th or 119 start date in the candlelight dinner, in the Liberty, in the Starlight Ball, couldn't help but remind me of something. I was reminded of the Statue of Liberty. And well, you know who the Statue of Liberty is, right? I mean, you've seen these comparisons, right, of this painting and the statue, and how this 1848 statue of Lucifer has the chains, like the Liberty has the chains, and the 7-point crown, and the 7-point crown, and the torch, and he's holding a torch, and hey, they even kind of look alike. But you've seen the original Statue of Liberty face, right? You know, the one that looks like this. That is an absolute dead ringer for Elvis. Which brings us all the way back here. Why would someone write a book, Revelation 9:11, Angel of the Abyss, and have that as the main character? That which is, I think, no mistake, who it is a tribute to. Maybe the author knows what I know. That the king that is about to be inaugurated to rule over them, beginning on 119, is not only this king, but also this king. Now you might be saying, how is any of this possible? Well, believe me, I'm going to tell you right after his face morphs seamlessly into his face. And right after you see that these dots match up with these dots. Again, perfectly, seamlessly, undeniably. And again, how is this all possible? Well, because we're living in a time period that you don't realize. A time period in the Bible referred to by Revelation 27, when Satan shall be loosed from his prison and go out to deceive the nations for a little while. And if one of these fallen angels is released for a little while to deceive the nations, don't you think it's possible that maybe the other 200 fallen angels were released? And maybe that's literally why there is a giant crater on fire in Turkmenistan that looks like something was released from the bottomless pit. And maybe that's exactly why the number of giant craters scattered all over this earth also matches 200. And maybe that's why they have such an affinity for 9/11 or 119, because it's a tribute to when they're released from the bottomless pit and given a little while to deceive all of us. And if some of you are getting mad at me over this blasphemy that you think I'm spewing, well, don't get mad at me. Jesus literally said it himself. There will be some of you standing here which shall not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming into his kingdom. And if you don't think you're living in a time where Satan is deceiving the nations, think how many people you once knew who thought they lived there and these existed and that you came from one of these. Now, just to cover my butt and not have this censored,
let's see that in an instant replay.
This is all for entertainment purposes. Of course, I know I am related to a chimpanzee. I live on a spinning ball 1,000 miles per hour. Dinosaurs were most certainly real. The Dark Ages were most certainly dark, and nothing advanced or nothing was invented for 1,000 years, and it definitely wasn't a reign of peace with Jesus Christ. There's no such thing as fallen angels, and so what? There's 200 even if there were. Again, just a complete coincidence that there just happens to be 200 craters that looks like something came up from in the ground like a geyser. These guys are most certainly not the same people, even though faces don't ever line up exactly perfectly and symmetrical like that unless they are. Him being the 45th and the 47th president and that adding up to that is just coincidence. Elvis looks nothing like the Statue of Liberty. I mean, look. He's got hair and the Statue of Liberty doesn't. And so the Statue of Liberty has chains and 7-point crown and torch and is in the Big Apple, and there's an apple at the bottom of that statue right there. I mean, coincidence. And so he's posed the same way. It's not like he's referred to as the light bearer or anything and she has the light. And so this guy on the cover of the book with Revelation 11 looks exactly like Elvis. It means nothing. And so the towers came down on 9/11, and for some reason they decided to make a giant hole as a tribute to it. That has nothing to do with Revelation 9/11 and a bottomless pit. So what? Trump's inauguration starts on 119, which is 9/11 backwards, and there's candlelight, starlight, and liberty all seeming to be tributes to Lucifer the light bearer. It's not like Donald Trump's name is actually in Revelation 9/11 or anything. And so angels often have L in it, referring to the Elohim, and it's L this and sounds like Don L. Again, just a coincidence. And so these two marks line up perfectly with those two marks. I mean, it's all just coincidence, all for your entertainment. Do you know that there are literally thousands of cases of the name of Jesus Christ bringing an alien abduction to an immediate halt? I personally have called out his name on 2 occasions and brought attacks to an immediate stop. Only I don't think we're dealing with aliens from other planets. I think we're dealing with something on a spiritual level. I think we're dealing with fallen angels and their little minion demons that have been trying to experiment and manipulate on humans since the dawn of the civilization. Because if they were really aliens from other planets, would they really halt in fear in the name of Jesus? Like I said, I think we're dealing with something else. And not only that, but I think they hide the power of Jesus' name from us. And here's evidence of that.
Of all the research we had read, from all the top researchers in the abduction phenomenon research, never had we read where anybody could stop an experience.
Now, as Joe Jordan started to get into the research, nowhere did he ever find anywhere talking about how the name of Jesus Christ could stop an experience. Yet he ran into other researchers that would often talk about it, but they would never document it because they didn't want to get labeled as crazy. So he began to conduct his own research and did so for 10 straight years.
Over the next 10 years, up till now, I have worked with over 400 abduction experience cases, all matching that first experience. That they've been able to stop the experience by calling out in the name and authority of Jesus Christ. I did not ask to do this research. I did not ask for this piece of the puzzle. You won't see this on TV. You won't see it at the conferences. You won't read about it from all the secular researchers. I've got 400 cases, 80 of them that have gone public. I bring you 8 of them right here today. This is really happening. The experience is really happening to these people. But there's a name and authority over that experience. So much for their high technology. It bows to the name and authority of Jesus Christ.
You see, if you know what I know, you know the mainstream's narrative is to make you think that these types of probes and experiments and abductions are coming from little green men from quintillions of miles away from other galaxies and other planets. When in fact, it's actually happening right here, from right above, or within a different dimension. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the dark powers and the dark rulers of the darkness of this world, and against the spiritual wickedness in high places. And they don't want you to know that. Because if you know that, then you know where you really are. And you know who eventually one day you'll really have to answer to. But if they can deceive you and convince you that these attacks are coming from little green men from planets from trillions of miles away in other galaxies, then it doesn't enlighten you to the fact that God is real. Because the greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing everyone that he and God don't exist. And of course they would leave any records out of the fact that the name of Jesus can save you from an attack. Because then, again, you would know where you really lived. And for anyone else out there saying that Jesus isn't even his real name, well, I challenge you to try a different name, because I, myself, have used that name in the middle of a spiritual attack when I really saw no end, and it ended immediately. My sleep paralysis disappeared, and the beings that were surrounding me, gone in an instant. But of course, this is all for entertainment. I know there's no such thing as fallen angels, and they're definitely not the real ones causing these attacks. And the name of Jesus Christ definitely doesn't help in the middle of them. This is all for entertainment purposes.
When I was in Utah, we saw lots of demons in Utah when we were in Salt Lake City. In our meeting, we'd have interesting people show up. Witches were showing up all the time. I'm praying for this girl at the end of the meeting, and from behind me, this guy grabs my kidney, and it wasn't like, hey, brother, how are you? It's like, I'm going to rip your kidney out. So I turn around. There's this huge guy I've never seen before, and his pupils are going in and out super fast. And he screams at the top of his lungs, I was sent here to kill you. I am going to kill you. And I said, oh, cool. So I turned back around, put my back to him, and kept praying for the girl. And he says, excuse me. I said, excuse me. I said, I'm trying to pray, so shut your mouth in Jesus' name. His mouth shuts. And so I finished praying for the girl, and I said, okay, listen, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to count to 3. And when I get to 3, you're either going to say, I want Jesus, I want freedom, or you're going to run out of this building. I'm never going to see you again. Do you understand me? His head goes like this, and I count to 3, and he goes running out of the building. And then this guy comes over to me who's a visitor, and he says, hey, so what do I need to do? I said, what do you mean? He goes, I'm an atheist. He goes, I saw that guy's eyes. Like, that's not possible. And like, you calmly walk over to this guy, and you're just talking about Jesus, and this guy goes running out. So what do I need to do? And so that's why I say not only is the demonic weak, they're quite stupid, because they're actually allowing people to come to Christ. There's no place of fear with this stuff whatsoever. because we're seated. So that's why Paul would say, stand firm against the enemy. Well, we can stand firm because we're seated with Christ in another world.
I hope it's not too late to learn to live and learn to love. I yearn to find, to turn the tide before the tender talk. For I never drew the sword from stone. There's no Helen in my joy. I stand alone, I stand forgotten, just gazing into the void. Come night, test my will, test my soul, test my faith and test my heart. Torn apart, make me strong, make me whole again, and guide through the dark.